Happy Monday. Hello, LinkedIn land. I am Melody Ann. I'm the founder of Nutritious Truth, and this is Stories That Work. And today I want to talk about building powerful customer stories. So to start, I want to just review the C's of storytelling. In a story, all stories have a structure. You have a character in a context. Something pushes them into the story. That is the catalyst. And then during the story, they have challenges, which they overcome. So they change. And then there's a consequence, hopefully good consequences. So all stories have a structure. It's not just a list of events. There's an actual structure. There's a shift or a change that the character goes through. So in that context, let's look at customer stories. So in a customer story, in a customer success story, there's a change brought about that brings success to your customer, right? And of course, we always want to talk about the best consequences in customer stories. And I think customer stories are one of the most important marketing stories you can tell. I see a lot of companies focusing on their brand, or their entrepreneurs focusing on their entrepreneur story. But the truth is, if you're looking to attract people, new people to your company, you want to talk about them. They want to hear about themselves. So when a potential client sees themselves in a customer story, they stop. You get their attention. They stop scrolling. And then they learn that there is a solution to their problem, and you might be the solution to their problem. And that's the point. So let's look at an example. I'm actually going to share my screen with you and show you one. Let me just share my screen with you. There we go. All right. This is just a quick 50-second video, and it's about how Tommy Nicholas transformed his career with Codecademy. What is the focus of this video? That's what I want you to pay attention to. What is the focus of this video?
There are 24 million people learning to code with Codecademy, and I'm proud to be one of them. I remember very specifically writing my first Hello World and just thinking that this is magic. Wow, that's coding. I can create anything now. What Codecademy really did for me is give me the ability to create the things that I imagined. It gave me a sense of purpose. Coffitivity was the first project I was involved with that really exploded. And to think that one of the 50 best websites built in 2013 was built by two people who had been coding for 1 month and 3 months respectively. If you're able to take the things that are in your head and make them a reality, you will be more likely to live the life that you actually want to live. My name is Tommy Nicholas. I'm the co-founder of Knox Payments, and I'm a Codecademy user.
So in that really short time, that 50 seconds, a lot happened, right? We have, and what I want you to notice, and the reason I like this example, is they don't start explaining who Tommy is and his context and why he went to Codecademy. They don't do the beginning of the story. They just jump into the change and the consequence. They talk about the success, which is really great. They have 50 seconds. They got it all in, and they got so much in that 50 seconds. Even though we don't need to know his exact challenge beforehand, because if you are like Tommy beforehand looking for skills to get a job that you can live the life you want, you don't need to be told that. You know it. So what do? They jump in. They jump into Tommy. And the one thing I really like is they focused on the change immediately. Did you see? He says, "Oh, my first hello world," and he lit up. There was this natural emotion that he completely lit up when he was talking about that. And that's what you want. You want a customer story that shows that emotion. And then after that, he says very specifically, he says something about, I gained a sense of purpose. That's a universal desire for all human beings, to gain a sense of purpose. So we have this young man who talks about his first success. He lights up. He talks about gaining a sense of purpose, a universal desire, and then they go on to show his bigger success. He worked for Coffitivity, And then at the end, they tell us he is now a co-founder of his own company. Wow, that's a lot of success in 50 seconds. So if I was a young person looking for skills, looking for coding skills, I'd be like, yeah, Codecademy's for me. Look what he did. It's amazing. And so the link is in the description, so you can watch it again if you want. But I want you to focus on the idea that this story is not about Codecademy. They don't talk a lot about Codecademy. Tommy says, oh yeah, I learned a lot at Codecademy, and this is all my success that came from that. And so it's very, very clearly a Codecademy video, but it's not centered on them. And that's the one thing I want you to really think about. When you are doing customer success stories, it's not about you. It's not centered on you. And that's one of the biggest mistakes I see that companies make. They really want people to understand that they were the people who helped with the success. But then the video lines up being about you. And what you want the video to be is about your customer and their success. So when you create your customer stories, have a structure. Even if you don't explicitly tell us all of the structure, have a structure. They certainly understood where Tommy was coming from, right? They found someone who was, in a character, in a context, looking for something. So even if you don't explicitly state the entire story, all stories have a structure. And it's okay to jump into the middle, into the change, maybe into the challenge, the change, and the success, right? The consequence. The other thing I want you to really focus on is this story was about a person. Customer success stories are not about companies. They're not about products. They are about people with problems that have been solved, who are now successful because they have been solved. The other thing I want you to really focus on is bringing in the emotion. I mean, you really saw, if you didn't see it, watch it again. Tommy lit up when he talked about his hello world. If somebody who's in Tommy's position before his success was watching it, they would feel that same emotion with Tommy. And then show success. And in this video, they showed a progression of success. They went from hello world to I feel I have a purpose, to now I'm working for Coffitivity, to now I'm a co-founder of a company. So you see that growth, that success. And that's really, really, really important for customer success stories. So when you have a customer success story, you want to have the structure. You want to make sure it's about a person. You want to bring in emotion, and you want to show success. All right, I'm going to show one more video. Share my screen. Now this time, when we are watching it, I want you to watch, because now we're going to do, it's still Codecademy, but we're going to have 3 customer stories weave together. And so watch how they weave the stories together, and watch how, and think about, there's somebody off screen asking these people questions. So think about what those questions are that they're asking. Here we go. Let's watch this one.
3 years ago, I was in a job that I did not like. I wasn't enjoying it. I didn't really feel like I was going anywhere. And I always wanted to work as a creative. Lots of places had it on their list of desirable things. If you wanted to work as a creative, people would like you to have HTML skills or some CSS skills. So I thought, I'll take a couple of courses. Started out after college working as a IT specialist for about 5 years, and then started to kind of have the itch to learn something new and start to teach myself to code. I was just consuming a lot of things that other people had made. So there was this feeling of wanting to actually build something of my own. When your day-to-day is talking with folks who have been coding and engineering for 20 years, it's pretty intimidating. You start to look for ways to shore that up and to stand out. In fact, I made it my New Year's resolution to learn how to code.
after I took the courses, I started trying to apply to stuff. So I worked on little tiny projects of my own, and I just found it quite rewarding. And I was like, this is something I'm actually really enjoying doing. Wouldn't this be really good if I could do this all the time, and get paid for it? I applied for an internship in New York and I got it. So I spent a year in New York working as a developer for Citibank. I didn't really have anything to properly show. Literally all I had was that I would say, I took these Codecademy courses, and that is how I got the job.
I think the first time that it really clicked and I thought I was getting it was kind of going through the lessons and thinking, okay, they just taught me how to randomize a list of things. And I thought, okay, if I could do that with something in my own life, at the time it was picking out some exercises that I wanted it to do, but not have the same ones every time. I could actually take what I was exactly learning in that lesson, do something of my own with it, and then let me put it out there in the app stores and see what happens. Just see if other people want to use it.
Knowing how to code has got me off the sideline, and I got promoted. And it happened at the end of the year. So I was able to basically look back at my New Year's resolution and say, man, that definitely paid off. And I'm currently the founder and CEO of my own startup.
I use Codecademy to learn for free. People pay like thousands of pounds for a university degree in some kind of computer science, and I didn't, and I still have a proper job. I'm a proper developer.
Circuit started off as a side project. That was the first time, I started a project that actually clicked. I think I got lucky on the first try. At this point now, we've helped over 25 million people work out. So that's a great feeling.
Open the door to the world of coding.
Oh, there we go. Okay, so what I like about this, and when you're watching it, there are two things that I really want you to focus on and think about. One, they actually built the story. So if you look at the first things that the three of them said, they were talking about who they were, what they were looking for, what they were struggling with, what they wanted. And then in the middle, they were talking about their experience at Codify, right? They were talking about how that changed their world and how they started finding success. And at the end, they talked about where they are now. So that was they had like three really good story arcs. The story architecture in these are really, really good. So that's the first thing I want you to notice. And then the second thing that I think is really important, if you are trying to create customer stories for yourself, one, think about that, where they were, what the experience was like, where they are now. So you get the arc of the story. And then the other thing, there's somebody off screen asking these people questions, and they were just answering the questions. So you think about how easy would it be for you to, find an ideal client, someone you've worked with, and ask them questions like these people were obviously being asked, like, what was your life like before? What was your experience with your company? And what is your life like now? And you can ask in those questions, and you can get that story arc and create a customer success story quite easily. It's not that challenging. And this is what I want you to understand from this video. It's really not that challenging. And you can do it through Zoom even, right? There's lots of ways you can do this. All right. So I am going to put both of those links in the description so that you can go through, and I encourage you to really study how these videos are put together and how you might be able to put a story together, whether it's in video or whether it's written. What can you do? What customer stories can you tell? And then you can tell them at networking events, in video, on websites, on your product packaging, or anywhere else an ideal client might be. All right, I am Melody Ann Owen, and I help entrepreneurs and other companies with content strategy, very much specifically with storytelling. And if you are looking to tell better stories, get in touch. Have a great week.